Joining me to discuss, Vice President for Federal Affairs at the National Taxpayers Union, Tommy Aiello. Tommy, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
All right, let's talk about this. Free bus rides. Nope, that's not happening. I'm going to arrest Netanyahu. Nope, can't do that. But I'm going to freeze rent, and I'm going to try to put taxes on wealthy landowners in the city who then just say, tell you what, we'll just pack up and leave. New York's in real trouble here, and Mamdani's only been in office a short period of time. What, 6 months? I mean, this is not a good sign or a good trend, is it?
No, and I think this is the difference between the two parties, right? In 2010, Republicans had the Tea Party. We're taxed enough already. We want government out of the way. This time, the Democrats have their free party. They want free everything. Free childcare, free buses, free rent, free phones, everything. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a proud New Yorker. And I could tell you people here are very concerned with the way the city's going. They don't embrace free enterprise. And unfortunately, the city's in for some very dark days ahead.
You know, it's interesting. You know, the Democrats tried to downplay this. It started with the squad, of course, just 4 or 5 members of the House saying crazy things. And then it became Bernie Sanders became the leader of that little circus. But now I think if I look at the numbers right, I think something like 35 Democratic socialists, which are just socialists, they're not Democrats at all. I think 35 have won primaries. All of a sudden they realize their big tent is on fire, Tommy, because it is.
Well, this is the difference between Democrats and Republicans. This is the difference between Republicans leading and Democrats just talking. Under President Trump, we have more Americans working in the private sector than any time in our nation's history. We have fewer federal workers working now than at any point since 1966. And of course, we have a booming job market, and we have wages finally outpacing inflation. All of this is because of what President Trump and the Republicans were able to do. They passed one of the largest tax cuts in American history, allowing you to keep more money in your pocket. You work hard for your money. You should be able to keep more of it. There's more to do to combat inflation, but I think what Republicans can run on is a really strong message. And I think when voters go to the voting booth, they're going to see leadership versus failed talking points by the Democrats.
What did you say? What do you think happens in the midterms? Because here's what I'm seeing where I live. People like Abdul El Sayed, socialist, appears to be leading the Democrat field to be the U.S. Senate candidate for Michigan for the Democrats. You've got Will Lawrence, who looks like he's going to be the candidate for the Democrats in the 7th Congressional District in Michigan, which doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, except it is considered the most competitive toss-up race in America. Millions of dollars will come in. If you have a true DSA member on top of the Democrat ballot, they're going to lose. This is not New York. This is not Denver. This is not Seattle. I think Democrats are looking around going, man, we made a big mistake. Last word to you.
I think that's exactly right. But Republicans, they also need to run on what they're going to do in the future. I think if Republicans want to be successful this November, they need to talk about not only what they did, but what they're going to do if they hold the House and the Senate. At the top of that needs to be spending restraint. We can cramp down on inflation by getting our finances in order. We can deliver more tax relief. We can cut the red tape and regulations that stifle so many infrastructure, housing, and energy projects. And then we also need to tell them what's great about America, and that's the free enterprise system. If we do all that, I really do believe Republicans have a fighting chance to hold the House and the Senate.
Yeah. All right, Tommy, thank you as always, my friend. We'll talk again soon. We'll see how the midterms play out, but what should have been a slam dunk for the Democrats is certainly not. All right, before we go to break, I want to give you a sneak peek into the interview with President Donald